ein besonderer Ort in einer ganz besonderen Zeit. Ein besonderer Ort deshalb, weil da schon sehr viele entscheidende klettergeschichtliche Ereignisse stattgefunden haben. Und eine besondere Zeit, weil, wie wir alle wissen, zum ersten Mal wieder Wettkampf geklettert wird. Der Weltcup hat noch Pause, deshalb hat die Austrian Climbing Summer Series losgelegt. Das sind 3 Nationen, Deutschland, Schweiz und Österreich, die sich jetzt hier die Entscheidung in den nächsten Wochen ausklettern. Und dieser spezielle Ort Innsbruck, der hat es nicht nur Indoor im Wettkampf Klettern auf sich mit den Weltmeisterschaften vor 2 Jahren oder den Europameisterschaften die Jahren zuvor, sondern es gibt auch echte Juwele Outdoor. Und bevor wir jetzt hier Wettkampfluft schnuppern und ins Semifinale der Männer starten, schauen wir ins Ötztal mit Babsi Zangerl und sie stellt uns eine ganz spezielle Route vor.
Heute war die Nina Caprese dabei.
Nina Caprese was here today. When I come here with somebody who doesn't know Niederthey, these are the routes I like to show them. The route is called The Miracle and is definitely one of the best climbs I know.
Routen, die ich kenne.
Nina loved the route. She didn't expect to find a crack like this in Niederthey. The cool thing about the route is that it is obvious where you have to climb. There aren't many options on the face. When you stand in front of it, then this is the route you notice straight away. The route is not too hard, so I climb it almost every time I'm in Niederthey. There are not many cracks in Tyrol, so it's a special route we have here. In rock climbing, everyone is looking for that route where you think, I want to go back again and again to try it. I want to spend lots of time and energy on it because the route is so cool.
Der Kletterschönheit Tirols jetzt endlich wieder vor die Wettkampfwand und die Athleten, die haben jetzt noch ganz kurz Pause dafür. Natürlich Anna Stör hier in Rekordzeit in unser temporär aufgebautes Studio hereingekommen. Anna, du hast selber das Semifinale der Damen vor wenigen Stunden schon miterlebt. Was bedeutet es jetzt wieder, einen Wettkampf zu klettern, obwohl eigentlich nichts mehr auf Wettkampf programmiert war? Im Geiste des Athleten.
Ja, für die Athletinnen und Athleten ist das jetzt wirklich eine super Chance, sich international zu messen und endlich wieder Wettkampfluft zu schnuppern.
Das ist nämlich das einhellige Statement, das da durch die ganze Kletterhalle geht. Endlich dürfen wir wieder klettern. Das sagt auch Heiko Wilhelm, der CEO des österreichischen Kletterverbands.
Ja, also es war jetzt einmal extrem spannend, endlich wieder einmal die Athletinnen und Athleten bei einem Wettkampf zu sehen. Bei vielen hat man die Wettkampfanspannung sichtlich gemerkt. Das kann sich natürlich positiv auswirken bei sehr vielen, bei manchen natürlich auch in gewisser Weise negativ. Umso wichtiger einfach, dass wir Wettkämpfe veranstalten, wenngleich auch unter anderen Bedingungen, ohne Zuschauer. Es ist aber wichtig, die Atmosphäre zu schaffen und ist absolut notwendig, um irgendwie am Ball zu bleiben und sich auch langfristig mit der Motivation und mit einem gewissen Etwas dabei.
Die Damen haben also schon ihre Top 6 Mädels, die im Finale heute Abend klettern. Ab 17 Uhr bei den Herren geht es jetzt um. Von deiner Sicht aus, wir haben erlebt, dass es immer wieder die Young Guns, die junge Generation gibt, die es mit den Arrivierten aufnimmt. Die sind aber auch schon voll da. Bei den Damen haben wir es gesehen, die Jessie Bild ist aufgewacht, kam zurück im Semifinale. Was erwartet es jetzt bei den Herren?
Ja, bei den Herren ist natürlich der Mann, den es zu schlagen gibt, der Jakob Schubert, mehrfacher Weltmeister, Gesamtweltcup-Sieger, er ist Olympiateilnehmer, also den werden heute alle schlagen wollen und der Jakob wird schauen, dass er sich nicht schlagen lässt. Ich bin auf ein sehr spannendes Semifinale gespannt, auch der Florian Klingler, mit dem ist zu rechnen und natürlich der starke Deutsche Yannick Floy.
Wollte gerade sagen, weil es haben natürlich auch die 2 Gastnationen, Deutschland und die Schweiz, starke Athleten aufgeboten. Bei den Damen beispielsweise hat es Petra Klingler geschafft. Jetzt für Deutschland Yannick Flohe, 20 Jahre jung, der kennt Wettkampfluft in Innsbruck. Was glaubst du, kann er einen Jakob Schubert schlagen?
Ja, dem ist sicher ganz viel zuzutrauen. Der Jakob wird natürlich schauen, dass das nicht gelingt, aber der Yannick ist bis in die Haarspitzen motiviert. Und ja, es wird sicher ein spannendes Duell. Wer auch nicht zu vergessen ist, der Schweizer Weltcupsieger Sascha Lehmann startet zwar ein bisschen weiter vorne sozusagen jetzt im Semifinale, aber sie sind hochkarätige Athleten im Feld und auch die jungen Österreicher, auf die bin ich auch gespannt.
Und es ist wahnsinnig spannend, weil die Wand schaut ja auf der ganzen Welt ähnlich aus, aber der Blick hinaus, der ist neu für die Athleten. Da sitzen nur die Betreuer und vielleicht einige Corona-Geschulten, die schauen, dass die Sicherheitsstände eingehalten werden. Die Wettkampfstimmung, die lässt allerdings schon wieder Weltcup-Flair zu. Ich hoffe, ich habe nicht zu viel versprochen. Wir steigen jetzt einfach direkt hinein ins Semifinale der Männer und wir suchen die besten 6 fürs heutige Finale.
Hello and welcome back to Innsbruck. Men's semi-final here. Already back in the swing of competitions. Charlie Bosco here with the Austrian legend Anna Sturr next to me, who's just been out the front. For the German speakers amongst you will have already heard a little bit from Anna. From everyone else, she's here in English for the rest of this semi-final.
Yes, hello everybody. I apologize for all my mistakes already in advance.
I'm keeping a pretty long list.
Yeah, Charlie will keep me updated. No, I'm really delighted to be here. Happy to be back watching a climbing competition. On the live stream, it actually looks as if it's just a normal comp, right?
Yeah, I look at my screen and it looks normal, and then I look above the screen and it doesn't look normal at all. This is, of course, the first climbing competition that I'm aware of in the post-corona era, or post-lockdown era. I suppose we're still in the corona era.
Yeah.
But we had the women's semi-final this morning, and now it's time for the men's. World Cup rules, 20 climbers coming in reverse order of how they qualified. Some young up-and-comer called Jakob Schubert ended up first in the qualifiers, so he'll be out last. Looking forward to seeing him. I think if he sticks with climbing, he's got a future in it. But out first, we've got Christoph Breuer, also of Austria. This is officially the Austrian Climbing Summer Series, but they've allowed 4 climbers per gender, per discipline, to compete from Switzerland and from Germany. So later in the summer, we've got speed competitions and lead competitions, and as I say, there'll be 4 climbers per gender, per discipline from Switzerland and Germany make up the number. So it does have a World Cup feel, and I think if you look at the 6 women that made it to the final tonight, it doesn't look far short of a
we
World
have
Cup final.
A lot of world champions here. We'll have World Cup winner Sascha Lehmann will join us later today. And right now it's young gun Christoph Breuer trying the first problem, which looks rather powerful.
Yeah, a very different set, it would seem, from what the women had. These boulders don't seem super hard to read, is the way they look. I think we might see some different methods on them, but they're all pretty powerful and all seem kind of straightforward to read.
Yeah, in bouldering comps there are always lots of different methods. You always think from the mats, oh, I got this dialed, but then you're on the wall and you end up in a different situation. So it's always interesting to see what kind of methods the climbers will use. Another big difference to the bouldering boulder semi-final for the women is that right now our first problem is on the left-hand side, which is the steep part of the wall, and it makes it a little bit different if you start on a slab versus starting on the powerful part.
Andreas Hofherr now has been climbing well outside recently. Boulder probably his strongest discipline.
Yeah, he has placed second in the Austrian Cup in bouldering in the Youth A category, so he's also one of the youth athletes out on the field. He also has a brother, Johannes, who will join us a little bit later today, who he is training with most of the time. And yeah, let's see how this boulder works out for Andreas.
Yeah, they're both good outdoor climbers. Looking forward to seeing them at this level of competition. And as you can see, no gimmies on the first boulder, straight into the difficulty. Steep start, as Anna mentioned, and it stays steep all the way to the top. The angle eases off just a little bit on the top half of this boulder. But yeah, tough start, and it doesn't let up on the second one either.
Yeah, Andreas is one of the climbers who climbs a lot outside. So once the restrictions in Austria were eased, he found his way to the rocks. He's training with Mark Ammann in Vorarlberg. He is also a former athlete of the Austrian team, and he used to be the speed coach of the national team. Right now he is training the young guns in Vorarlberg, so a big shout out to him, and we can see a lot of climbers from his team coming through to the national team as well.
Yeah, of course, we'll be over in the Vorarlberg in early August for the lead competitions in Imst, the famous wall that's not been in World Cup action since 2016, but we will be back there in just a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, in August we'll have the lead action in Imst. Right now Andreas has a little bit of difficulties with this first move, sticking the first move. That's a very bad squadra volume. Maybe some of you know this one. It's not the one with the juggy part. This is actually the very bad one. That's why Andreas brushes the chalk off, because it's important to have that little bit of friction. All friction you can get, you want to have on this volume here.
I mentioned it earlier, we had the women's semi-final this morning, and the route setters, as he sticks that first move, I'll resume in just a second, could be about to claim a zone here. Nicely done. Another burly move up, and right now onto a tiny crimp. Well, first zone secured anyway. I think the route setter's got the level pretty spot on today.
Yeah, I would say for the women the semi-final was ideal.
Yeah.
3 women advanced with 4 boulders into the final. 2 of them have 2 tops, and then 1, Mattea, has 2 tops. So for the route setters, I think it worked out nicely.
Yeah, and everybody in the entire field got at least a zone, so nobody went away completely empty-handed.
Yeah, and it's also, the field is very diverse. I mean, there are a lot of youth athletes here, but we also have world champions out on the mats. So the part of the route setter, or the job for the route setters, is definitely very hard today.
So he's got that first move sorted here.
Nice one.
Just can't get his foot up. Time beginning to run low.
Yeah, once he gets the foot up, he kind of, it's harder to stay on the wall because his foot is very close to the hands. That's why he would have to actually rock over this red volume, which is very hard. But he has about a minute left. So time for one more try.
Yeah, it was interesting in the men's qualifiers yesterday. We had a lot more tops than in the women's side, and I talked to Matthias Voitzuk, who's the chief route setter for this event, and to Jörg Verhoeven and the other members of the team, and they felt they needed to increase the difficulty for this semi-final, but they had so little time. We only finished less than 2 hours ago, and they had to take the women's boulders down, put these ones back up, and somehow make them a bit harder. So the route setters said they've made all 4 boulders harder than they were when they originally set them. But as I say, they had so little time to
adapt. Yeah,
to adapt that. Let's see. They've certainly made this one hard from what we can tell so far. About to see boulder number 2 in action. Thomas Podlan will be out next. He's a really exciting climber. That name might sound familiar from Youth World Championships over the past few years. Really determined style.
Yeah, the 2 17-year-olds are out right now, Christoph and Thomas. They're both 17, both Youth A category. And yeah, it'll be interesting for them to actually be able to compare themselves with world-class athletes such as Jakob, Sasha or Yannick Floy.
Yeah, Thomas has put on a real show. I remember a couple of years ago here in Innsbruck in the Youth World Championship. He's great. It must have been 3 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, it was 2017 already. Innsbruck has a long tradition of holding or organizing competitions, which is cool because I think it's an amazing venue, and if you were Austrian, obviously it's very special to compete in front of your home crowd.
Yeah, he certainly always puts on a show. He's got no problem with that first move. Christoph Breuer's on number 2. Again, pretty physical boulder. I think climbers that want to top both of these first 2 boulders, if you can get the first one done quickly, it would certainly help because they're both quite similar. You've got your hands in front of your face, kind of locked off.
Yeah, the first one requires some stemming skills or mental and stemming off the zone. Both definitely powerful problems. And yeah, it's also about the tactics of these climbers. When you're in the youth category, some climbers tend to have a lot of attempts, one after the other, because they are not used to slowing down during those 5 minutes on the mats. But it's very important to actually take a step back, as these 2 are doing right now, and yeah, to have a proper look at the boulder and try and relax for a second.
I guess it's a journey you went on, but when you start climbing, it's the thing you're missing. When you're 17, like these 2 climbers we're watching, it's the thing you're missing, just that mileage, the experience of how to get through a round.
Yes, experience definitely helps a lot, especially in bouldering competitions. When it comes to dealing with pressure, you always know who is climbing in front of you, who might have topped the boulder. All these psychological issues are very important in bouldering, and when you have experience, it definitely helps a lot. And Christoph is looking really solid right now.
He's looking really good on this second boulder.
Actually be able to get the top. He has it with one hand, but obviously he has to control it with both.
So the top is a whole of that blue volume, including the crimp.
Maybe he can get a toe hook somehow. I reckon a toe hook would help him control this top hold. But that was a strong effort.
It's definitely something not right in his right leg. Is it just cramped from being in a really uncomfortable position?
Christoph is also one of the climbers who climbs a lot outside. Really enjoys rock climbing, and that definitely helped him during the times when the gyms were closed. Thomas is doing the move to the zone easily. Really good job. And now, yeah, that heel kind of presses back.
Yeah, it's pushing your hips away from the wall.
Tricky.
Yeah, you can definitely see that the boulders are a lot harder than qualifying. Even if you just look at the results from yesterday, a lot of tops all round on the men's side. So this could well be the final attempt. 5 minutes ticking by quickly. You can see there's a couple of catches on that bottom right yellow volume. It's not actually that many moves, this boulder.
Well, it's hard to get his foot actually on the foothold. Good job, I can see. Come on now.
Yeah, this is exactly the position he was in before, but he couldn't quite find a way to stay there.
Too bad. But it looked really good at first. But the time is ticking away.
It's not that big, the hold they're going for, that white hold.
But I believe it might be a good idea. I mean,
to go quickly.
Yeah, it's always in bouldering comps. It's always good if you have a lot of methods in your bag, so to speak. And yeah, Thomas just tried another method now, and maybe he thinks that it might work. He's going fast again.
Shakes his head as if to say, don't know what that was all about. David Zinsler now, also of Austria. I said we've got German and Swiss climbers here. We haven't seen any of them yet in this men's semi-final, but they will be coming out later. Christoph Schweiger will be the first non-Austrian out. He'll be the 10th climber from Germany, and his compatriot Philip Martin will follow him. And then further down the order, we've got Max Kleersattel and Yannick Floe, a year on or so from his World Championship podium.
David is a very powerful climber. He already wanted to control that hold with one hand. I believe he should try to have his second hand there too.
So Andreas Hofer is out on number 2. As I say, they're not dissimilar, the boulders. Quite sloping holds, quite similar position, kind of having to lock off quite a lot on poor slopers.
Although one is very dynamic, the other one's rather technical. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the different methods from the climbers.
This is the angle we want. You can see where he's going for, and you can see on that yellow volume the 2 tiny holes are mentioned. So ideally you want to get your foot on the right one, the one closest to the bottom of the screen, and then hand on the left-hand one. Rather heavy landings for David. Remember, we do have the final for this event, the men's final this evening, and the women's final. It's a full day here in the Sillside Sport Complex in Innsbruck. We're actually in the same complex as the famous Kletterzentrum, just on the other side of it. So not much of a commute for most of these climbers.
We're actually in the athletics arena. The Climbing Federation has a deal with the Athletics Federation, which is quite cool. We were able to have this wall in the athletics arena, and that's just behind the Kletterzentrum. So the climbers can warm up at the KI and then make their way into this venue.
It's certainly the only competition I've been to where there's a pole vault thing in front of the wall. I don't know what the technical term is. Tower. But yeah, as we mentioned at the top of the programme, got a very different feel, the competition these days. You'll see that certain rules are having to be abided by, including the brushes. Each climber has their own brush that they take with them to every boulder. We don't have brushes during this coronavirus time. Officials often wearing masks as well, social distancing being observed in the crowd, warm-up areas being managed differently. It may look the same on the live stream, but I can assure you it feels very different here in the arena.
Yeah, and I think what the climbers will miss most is definitely the crowd. I mean, at the World Cup, you can imagine you have 5,000 people behind you, you're on the mat, and you can feel that energy. And that might give you that little bit of extra motivation to get up to the top. So even though we have a speaker here, also for the athletes, we have music, but the crowd is definitely missing, and it'll be interesting to see what the climbers say about this different circumstance.
That beep there just to signify there's 1 minute left of the 5-minute rotation. We haven't had any clock issues, which is always a nice surprise. Long may it last.
It's true. Yeah, now Andy might manage to get the zone. Looks promising. He should control it though, yeah. Maybe he was a little bit stressed out by the time, because we could hear the 1 minute beep already. He might give it another shot, but...
David, I think, might have just cut a finger. Yeah. You're not allowed to bleed on the boulders, remember? That was the rule long before coronavirus. And I think he just cut his forearm. So I'll have to go and get that patch back up before the next boulder. He's got 5 minutes. And the second of the Hofherr brothers, Johannes, comes out now again. You mentioned it earlier, very strong outdoor climber. Good in both boulder and lead.
Already climbed an 8C plus sport climb outside. So he really likes the rocks. And he was 10th at the 8th, excuse me, at the World Youth Championship combined in Arco last year. So he's definitely one of the up-and-coming stars from the Austrian team.
This is our first look at number 3 as well. It's a slight change of style. You can see the climbers get bunched up, they get tight in that starting position, and then they've got to unleash and go up to the zone.
Yeah, the third boulder is on the more vertical part of the wall. The further we go right, the more vertical it gets. The steep part is on the left-hand side, where Thomas is right now, trying to get the zone. With the right hand now. Yeah, changing methods again. Now he found out that he has to actually use it with the left hand. Good choice. And I reckon it's tricky getting the foot up there. I'm sure I would have huge problems because you have to be really flexible in your hip in order to get your foot that high.
Oh God, I'd have no chance.
Pardon?
I'd have no chance. I can barely ride a bike, I'm so inflexible.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Jakob deals with it. He sometimes has minor problems when it comes to flexibility. Christoph sticks the first move to the zone quite nicely. Good job. Maybe we'll see. Yeah.
He was having a look at that move, but never really went for the hold. Your feet will then go out left if you get that move done, and they land on that enormous shiny volume you can see right above him. So Thomas Podlamp pulls back on for another look at this one. You can see there's only 5 holds on the boulder, but so many ways you could move, so many micro movements, and we've seen every climber on this so far get spat off seemingly at random.
Yeah, somehow he really doesn't like to lean over that right-hand palm volume there. Somehow he wants to go up with the right hand.
Christoph can't repeat that move up to the zone. It's a tricky one. You've got to get the timing right, and you've got to be really accurate as well.
And of course it's a brutal start. I mean, you have to remember, if you come out to the first boulder and you have struggles with the first move, it's very hard to keep your head in the game. And it's a good training for these young athletes to actually forget about the first one in case it doesn't work out and concentrate solemnly on the boulder that is before or in front of you.
So he got himself established on that zone, but he can't seem to move from there. You can see 1 minute 30 left on this rotation. Thomas trying something completely different.
But he's an athlete who tries various methods. I'm impressed by that because some always stick to the same one. Of course, it's important to have various methods in your head, although at some point you have to decide, you have to go for one. Yeah, he's trying different ways.
1 minute left now. Thomas Podolon got in this position that must now feel quite familiar. And those holds aren't getting any better.
Yes, that's the way. Come on. Doesn't like that upper part of the boulder. First part looked really solid.
So Christoph Breuer had enough of number 3. Thomas Podolon struggling to get back in the position he was originally in.
Gives it one more try. He's also a lead athlete. He has had various finals, youth finals in lead. So he has a lot of endurance, as you can see. Did a lot of tries in this one.
So no top so far. Had it not too far off on men's 2, but the other 2 boulders not really seen anyone at the coming close to the top yet.
No, and as you already said, the qualification was slightly easier. So the Roots had decided to have a tough semi-final, and that's what we can actually see right now. These are all athletes of the Austrian youth team. So of course it's hard for them if they come out and have these hard set of boulders in front of them. But I'm sure they'll manage.
Lawrence Burgersdorfer now has just got underway on number 1. Andreas Hofher on number 3. And again, has a tentative look at that move out to the volume.
Well, David looks solid on the second one. Hard to get the foot across though, or the foot up onto this yellow volume. It's a really cool opportunity for these youth athletes to compare themselves with world-class athletes such as Jakob Schubert, Sascha Lehmann, or Yannick Flohe.
Yeah, we've got some truly, truly world-class climbers to come in this semi-final. Looking forward to seeing Sascha, as ever.
Me too.
A little bit up and down, you never quite know what you're going to get from him. But if he's on form, he's a real contender. And Jakob is always on form. Got to be careful with those signs. So he's got the right hand down. Try and creep his right foot around it to the second of those screw-ons, and as yet no one's really got established in that position and looked like they could stay there.
And I think David has decided to put his chalk on to take it with him and on his next attempt, because maybe he feels like he could use some chalk up there.
This is a tough round so far. No tops. A few zones. Most climbers getting the zone on most boulders. But as yet, no one topping anything.
Yeah, but I guess we're used to that from the beginning of a semi-final.
Yeah.
As you know, towards the end of the field, tops will definitely happen, and it always seems as if the boulders might be too hard, but then at the end you have to, only 6 climbers will advance to the finals, so it's important to have a hard set of boulders in order to divide all these athletes. David, is wearing his chalk right now. Top with one hand, just like Andreas, but he has to get the second hand to the top. Wow, nice one.
That's the first top of the semi-final. Got himself looking really solid. The crimp on that yellow top hole is, the blue top volume, is pretty terrible, but it was just enough to get him steady.
Yeah, that was a really good job by David, and it was also interesting to see that he decided to wear his chalk. Maybe that might have been the difference for him, who knows?
So there we go, first top of the semi-final. We were just talking about how we didn't have any, and suddenly someone delivers one. Andreas Hoffer really struggling with the push on that third boulder. Right foot slipping off every time he tries it.
And this will be interesting for the ones in the transit zone right now, because everyone hears the speaker. They know that David topped the second boulder, and it will definitely make a difference for the next ones coming out, because they know that it's possible. And they know that their teammates, who they're training with, actually did it. So, yeah, all these psychological aspects are really interesting when it comes to bouldering competitions.
There's a man with a tough job today. The speaker for the arena. I mean, there's no crowd to get, no crowd to feed off.
That's true. But the speaker in here is Florian Rudig. He has always been the speaker in Innsbruck, and yeah, he's a professional. I think he does his job just as well as if there were 5,000 people behind him. Even if, of course, there are empty seats, a lot of them.
Yeah, if he sounds familiar, we hear him in Munich as well for the World Cup there. So,
and now for the first time we have 4 boulders.
4 boulders, first chance to have a look at this slab. This is a really strange start. I initially thought they hadn't put enough pieces of tape on, but there is actually, as you can see towards the top of the shot there, a tiny little screw-on jib that is one of the starting holds. And you can see he's got to get 2 limbs, presumably his right hand and right foot, on the upper volume.
Nicely done
So
by
he's not,
Gustav.
even if he's not in the official starting position.
Now he is.
Now he is, yeah. The number of pieces of tape corresponds to how many of your limbs you have to put on that hole, so you can't just spread them out across the holes. It's got to be 1, 2 and 1.
And he secured the zone already.
And I saw you chatting to some of the route setters about this boulder earlier. What were they telling you?
Yeah, they said that this is definitely the trickiest to read from the whole set right now. It's hard to get into the starting position, then you have to get over to the zone and then back down again while trying to get over to the top hold. So this is definitely a tricky one, and we'll see if the climbers will succeed.
Yeah, Johannes Hoffer, we just saw there getting a bit frustrated on number 2. I think that could be something we see a lot today.
Yeah, the problem is, as I mentioned before, that he knows that David climbed it. So he knows that he should definitely do it as well. And that's the tricky part sometimes when you're out on the mats. You shouldn't think about the performance of other athletes. Or at least for me, that was always important, to just focus on myself and try to tackle the boulder. But it's easier said than done sometimes. Whoa.
Thomas Podland
Thomas sticks
holding
it, the first
swing.
one to do so.
So you can see it, I mentioned it briefly earlier, that enormous dual texture volume. So the top part, the shiny part, is useless, but you can use the underside of it for toe hooks. Is he just going to ignore it? No, he's going to use the toe hook. Looked like he couldn't quite decide what method to use.
Yeah, it's important. Of course, every climber looks at the climb beforehand and has a plan in his mind. But then sometimes you find yourself in a position where you feel like, oh, this doesn't feel as stable as I would like it to feel. And then you change plans. But sometimes it definitely is important to just go for it in bouldering, to be courageous enough to make the move. Wow, and now Johannes has the top with one hand, and maybe...
This looks really good. If he can match to his feet, presumably you get in a much more solid position. You can see him shaking though from the effort of just staying there.
Yeah, you can see that it's hard. It's hard to actually stay on the wall. Nice.
A tenuous top, but they all count. He's on the board.
Nice one.
The buzzer sounds to say 1 minute to go, so used up 4 minutes there, and you could see he only matched the top hold with the left thumb, but that's fine.
I don't know how you feel, Charlie, but I'm sweating. It's so hard to watch climbing comps for me. I'm always really nervous, but I really enjoy it. I think I think it's really cool from the Austrian Federation that they managed to pull it off. It was not easy to organize this comp due to all the requirements, all the restrictions. At first, only Austrian athletes were allowed, but since the numbers in Germany and Switzerland were good enough 2 months ago, the Ministry of Sport decided to invite 4 athletes from Germany and from Switzerland as well. Of course, it's a pity that not the whole world can attend, but I'm happy for these athletes that they can be out on the mats competing again.
This was Stefan Rest. We didn't see that much of him. That was his final attempt.
Yeah, now Jan-Luca Posch is out. He's definitely one who has a lot of World Cup experience, and he's definitely very disappointed from his performance yesterday. So he'll be really motivated to show what he has in him.
Yeah, I believe in the end only 23 men took part in the qualifiers, so virtually everyone gets another go today. But yeah, I don't think he was happy. He could certainly make the final. He's of that caliber.
Yeah, I mean, Jan-Luca was in the Studio Block final this year, 2020, so he was very much looking forward for the season to start, as of course everyone else, but he was feeling in a good shape. And of course he wants to show that he has, that he can climb a lot better than he showed us yesterday.
If you're just joining us, welcome to Innsbruck, welcome back to competition climbing. It looks the same, it doesn't feel the same here in the arena, but it's nice to have it back in any form. Charlie Bosco here with Anna Stohr alongside me. Live in Innsbruck, beautiful day outside, and that heat just beginning to come into the arena. I feel it's warmer than it was for the women's semi-final.
It's definitely warmer now than it was in the morning, but remember when we had the comps at the Marktplatz? That was always outside, of course. On a day like this, it's a lot more fair if we have it inside. Even if the scenery is not as nice, we can't see the mountains right now. But for the athletes, it makes a huge difference whether the sun is on the wall or not. So everyone has the same conditions, which is good. Yeah, and also Lawrence, he knows that this boulder has been topped by Jo and David.
Being a taller climber looks like a disadvantage on that one, though. You think?
It's always so hard to say.
It looked like there was a lot of him to fit into a small space.
It's definitely harder getting your foot up on boulder number 2. Although it's easier to reach than to the last top hold. So hard to know. On the third one, for example, if you're too small to get the toe hook in, then that's also not that great. So it's always hard whether tall climbers or small climbers are in advantage. Yanni is struggling on the first one, but he has 2 minutes to go, so it should be easily enough time for him.
Still just one boulder been topped, boulder number 2. It's been topped twice. None of the others had a top yet, including number 1, of course, which has now got its 8th climber on it, so it'd be good to see a top of that one soon. Yeah, one of the venue MC just mentioned him, David Zinsler, one of the 2 climbers who got number 2 done. Foot slipped, very tenuous, the top section of number 3.
Yeah, they don't really like the toe hook yet. Seems like David tries to avoid it.
Have you used that big dual texture volume? You've climbed on that?
Yeah, every now and then, but...
I mean, can you get anything from standing on top of it?
No,
really
not
nothing?
At all.
Okay.
It really doesn't help. In this case, you can't can't put any weight on the dual texture.
Die letzte Minute für diese Runde.
1 minute to go for these climbers.
Sorry, I was just shouting because Andy was jumping across the slab. Oh, that looked difficult. Now Laurens is trying to get the top of boulder number 2. And now you could see that it could be an advantage to be a taller climber because he can reach it, but not 100% sure if that's the way.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine he could match with his feet down there.
Yeah,
So he's going to have to get them up.
And he has a hard time getting the foot up. It's all about hip flexibility there. It's... yeah, didn't work out this time.
So only one climber still attempting his boulder. He's got 6 seconds to go.
Yeah, not enough time for Andreas. He's finishing his round with 2 zones, no tops.
Die Heimat der vierfachen Weltmeisterin Matthias Posch.
Matthias Posch now, the second of the Posches.
They're not related though.
Sorry?
They're not related though.
No,
they're just from the same region, and yeah, in Austria, if you're from the same valley, can happen that you have the same last name. Quite
you
regularly, but you don't have the same relatives.
You hear the same surnames a lot around Innsbruck.
Yeah, I mean it's a small town in the end. It's not Chongqing, but that also makes it nice to live here, in my opinion. It depends what you like. And now Matthias, wow, and he can crimp hard, but he didn't get to the crimp. That's a pity. If he would get to that last white crimp, I would bet that he can get the top, because he's from Imst, as Charlie already mentioned, and Imst is their region where they can crimp like the Italians, I could say. And now Stefan is trying to crimp the top, and he does. Nice one. Good job.
Third top of that second boulder. You can see that tricky first move on boulder 3 as well. Just got to be really accurate.
Yeah, now this move is very tough for Johannes as well. You have to commit, you gotta go for it. Otherwise you can't hold it. And then there's the tricky start of boulder number 4 where we can see Thomas trying to reach the zone.
No one really made a lot of progress on this boulder. Climbers getting the zone, but not really getting much further than that. Thomas Podland not on the zone just yet.
And now Matthias he's looking strong. Let's see if that first attempt already... he already used some of his power, I guess. It'll be important to take a rest, take some time, because the first one is extremely powerful. And if you make too many attempts, it'll just be hard.
This is how they stand right now. Obviously very early days. First non-Austrian will be out in a couple of minutes, Christoph Schweiger of Germany. Thomas Podland looking at the zone. Oh, manages to catch himself nicely with the left foot. Rolled across to the zone.
Nice one. Now change feet and go back down. Come on, Thomas. On the slab, it's always very stressful if you know that the time's ticking away, because you have to take your time.
Yeah, he's got 45 seconds left.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to take your time on the slab, but kind of hurry up at the same time, which is weird.
He's done really well there.
But it looks promising, yeah. And he has plenty of time. Nice. 30 seconds, easily.
Top for Thomas. Boulder 4 sees the top, so now 2 of them have been topped.
Yeah, and I'm sure that all the boulders will see a top today. I mean, this is the first half of the semi-final. Of course, the favorites, the ones to beat, will be out later on. And yeah, so all these boulders are definitely doable. And Thomas did a really good job there. Nice.
Not long left on this rotation. Time running out. You don't need long to do men's number 1.
No, but
just
you have
need
to
a lot
be
of energy.
You gotta be self-confident enough to know that if you have 30 seconds, you can still top the boulder. Not so easy. It's also about tactics in bouldering. Come on now. Matthias rested quite well. That's a hard move.
So no tops on that one. No tops on number 3 either. 17 seconds of this rotation left. Not this time. So Christoph Schweiger, the 10th climber out, qualified 11th yesterday. His compatriot Philip Martin will be out after him, so 2 German climbers in a row. And we've got another one, another 2 later on, as I mentioned earlier, Max Clearsattel and Yannick Floey, and a couple of Swiss climbers as well, Sascha Lehmann and Dylan Chuat. So we mentioned it earlier, first thing he does, he comes out and brushes the holds. Remember, there are no brushes, you do your own brushing here. And you keep the same brush all the way through the rotation, and then you give it back, it gets disinfected and given to someone else. This is the modern world. Not an easy start at men's 4.
Well, and Jan-Luca is already close to the top on men's 2. Of course, he's also aware that a lot of people top this one, so he has to get a top if he wants to be at the top of the game. Come on, oh. Slips. Yeah, now the first German athlete is out, Christoph Schweiger. Wow, that was powerful, okay. Will we see the first top?
Yeah, no problem at all, going up to the crib, no problem at all to top. What a start for the Germans. Well, we've not been watching the whole time, but the MC just said it was a flash of Boulder 1.
Impressive, yeah. Really good job from Christoph there. He has 3 World Cup starts so far. Twice in Munich and once in Hachioji. So he knows what World Cup level feels like. And
yeah, it was a flash. Amazing stuff. David now on number 4. It's been topped by Thomas Podlan. So once again, it's all Austria on the stage. Christoph Schweiger backstage. He flashed number 1, first climber to top it.
Yeah, now Yanni really wants to get the top of number 2. He knows that some of his teammates already topped this boulder, but he's having a hard time. He also used the heel instead of the toe on the right-hand side. Not sure if that's a good idea, but maybe it'll work out. There are always various methods that get these climbers up the wall. Okay, Lawrence is doing it statically, the move. I think David jumped to this hold. Nice, good toe catch. Nicely done. And now he could...
Looked like quite a painful slip on that third boulder.
Yeah.
Bit of skin lost.
Yeah, and skin is an important issue in bouldering competitions for sure. If you climb in qualification, semi-final and final towards the end, because these volumes are always brand new, it definitely is tough on your skin, and sometimes it depends on that skin. And Yanni is solving it with the heel. Nice one. Proved me wrong.
Another top on number 2. That one's seeing quite a few tops now. Not quite a majority of climbers doing it. 4 out of 10, so 4 climbers so far topping it.
Well, and really interesting that he's actually sitting on his heels. Wow.
Didn't look that comfortable, but it was comfortable enough.
Yeah, it worked out for him, so definitely the right beta for this guy.
So just 2 climbers left on the mat, and then at the end of this rotation we're into the top half of the qualifiers. So Philip Martin out first, and Georg Palmer, Sasha Lehmann, names that will be familiar, I'm sure, to regular IFSC viewers. Both climbers just beginning to look a little tired here. And I think that might be that, yeah.
Now only David back on the wall. Wow. Yeah, Thomas, you solved this one quite nicely in a very, very slow and smooth way. But it's hard if you're on the slab and you want to advance and time is ticking. Not easy to keep a cool head.
So Philip Martin climbing, gets his semi-final underway. Matthias Posch next to him.
Yes, the second German out on the mats. He was 23rd in Chamonix in the Lead World Cup. So now he's on the bouldering mats. But nowadays the youth athletes or the younger athletes, they're all used to doing various disciplines. This is a big change because back in the days there were usually only boulderers or lead climbers. Now with the Olympic combined format, the climbers are usually very talented in all different kinds of discipline. And yeah, it's cool to see. Wow. No problems getting to the zone, but
no,
now that's the decisive move.
Those 2 German climbers have absolutely cruised this boulder, and he's getting himself set up now, I think, for another flash.
Yep. Flash
Wow.
of number 1 for Schweiger Christoph. Martin.
2 German climbers really cruising that first boulder.
Yeah, and you know, it is possible that Philip knew that Christoph topped it. He knows he's my teammate, I'm the same level, I can do that too. Might have given him some self-confidence. And yeah, so far the Austrians were struggling. But now there's a chance for a top for Matthias Posch, number 2.
Good to get a close-up, actually. You can see exactly what they're trying to use. There are 2. Ideally, you'd put your right hand on the left-hand one and then bring your right foot around it, but it's easier said than done. Let's have another look. Both German climbers have just cruised this. No problem at all. Easy as you like.
Yeah, good job for Martin Philipp. Nod of his head. I think he's satisfied.
Seen that quite a lot. Climbers slipping on number 3 from both right and left foot. That number 3 still the only boulder not to have been climbed. Johannes Hofher trying without success.
And now Matthias gives it another go on boulder number 2. His hometown is the same hometown as Angie Aita, 4-time lead world champion. And yeah, also crimp master, just like Matthias.
There must be something in the water. I don't know.
Maybe, who knows. Now Stefan did the first move to the zone easily on boulder number 3.
Trying to go statically. It might work, this. Yes.
Good job.
I wasn't how I expected him to do it, but he made it work. Really good stuff.
Will we see a top on number 3 now? Come on. Come on, Stefan. Decides not to use the toe hook. That's a good idea. I don't know. If he can bring his heel hook up, then he'll be fine.
Oh, he was hanging on with just 2 fingers on that left hand there.
I guess the green one before the top is really bad. 1 minute for Matthias. Looks at his fingertips. Maybe he was sliding off slightly. If he could get the foot to the right foothold, it would put him in a better position, I think. But of course it's harder because it's further away.
So they'll try again. Time beginning to become quite a factor. And all 3 climbers simultaneously decide that enough is enough.
Yeah, Johannes has to leave without a top. Oh, he topped number 2, I'm sorry.
Georg Palmer now appears. His semi-final commences. Christoph Schweiger, who we can see here of Team Germany, flash number 1. We mentioned earlier about climbers now being both boulder and lead athletes. Do you think it's, as you get older, you lose power, as I understand it? Do you think it's a logical thing for boulderers to become lead climbers? It seems like you're doing a lot more lead climbing these days.
Yeah, my lead climbing has a different reason. I had a back injury and I can't really boulder anymore. Jumping down is not as ideal for me, but I think that's the cool thing of climbing in general, that our sport is we have so many aspects of it and you can enjoy it in so many ways, which is really cool. And yeah, these young athletes are so talented in all different aspects of climbing, and yeah, that's very, very cool to see.
Christoph Schweiger making pretty light work of number 2 so far. And just like that, he falls off. Got himself into the position quite well, though.
Yeah, it looked good until the zone, but then he has to slow down a little bit and actually put his feet on the right-hand side. He's taking a good look now on the problem. And Georg Palmer is about to start. Come on. He was injured last year. He had a wrist injury and is now happy to be back on the mats.
Another all-rounder.
Yep.
17th in the World Championship here in Innsbruck a couple of years ago in the lead.
Yeah, and 21st in the Bouldering World Cup in Wujiang. So he has semi-finals in lead and bouldering.
And another top. That is 2 boulders, 2 tops for Christoph Schweiger. He is making light work of these boulders.
Yeah, good work for Christoph. It looks as if boulder number 2 is the easiest of this set. Then number 1 maybe. We've seen a top on the slab and we have not seen a top on boulder number 3. Maybe Yanni can show us how it works. Come on, Yanni. Get your foot up.
Oh, he got himself on that top crimp, but he obviously didn't feel comfortable. Tries again.
He's crimping hard. Wow, you can. Wow, but it's really not a good crimp. This one, yeah. Lauren's trying hard on the slab.
Struggling on that powerful men's number 1.
Yeah, having a hard time with that first tricky move. Just like the other Austrians.
We've got a World Cup winner out next in the form of Sascha Lehmann. First Swiss climber of this semi-final, first of 2. So trying to get into this start position is actually quite a challenge on men's 4. 1 minute to go on this rotation. Lawrence looking up, lining up that
Not quite sure
zone.
what to do. That's a tough slab that the route setters built or set here in Innsbruck in the athletics stadium. And Yanni is going again for boulder number 3.
Can't get back into that position.
Yeah, and only 30 seconds left. Here we'll have one more go. He's also one of the climbers who climbed a lot outside now. He's been training on the rocks and yeah. Of course the gyms were also closed in Austria for a long time. Now they're back open. And the climbers can train both in and outdoors again.
Philip Martin out now. Very strong German climber. Flashed the first boulder. Can he make it 2 from 2 as his compatriot did? Sasha Lehmann, World Cup winner in Vila last year.
Yeah, and all 3 nations are now out on the mats. Austria, Germany and Switzerland.
We mentioned him earlier. Look, always fun to watch Sasha. It just, who knows what we'll get.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see.
When he's on, he's on.
He's the bronze medal winner of the European Championship last year in Edinburgh in lead. But he also placed 4th in bouldering in Chongqing. So he's also one of the talented athletes in all disciplines.
The hottest climbing competition I've ever been to, that day in Chongqing. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember some comps in China, they were always warm enough, let's say. That's why it's usually an advantage if the climbing comps can be held inside. Of course, it's not as beautiful from the scenery. If you think back to the Marktplatz, we can't see the mountains right now, even they're just outside. But for the climbers, it's more fair if they all have the same conditions. Wouldn't be nice if those volumes would be in the sun right now for Stefan, and they won't be, which is good. Trying to do it dynamically.
The way we often see this where a climber does a boulder and they make it look easy, but the way Thomas Ponderland did it was so smooth.
Yeah, and he did it slowly.
Yeah.
That's a big difference to all the other climbers so far. Everyone's trying to jump to this zone on the slab. And Sasha's trying to jump too on the first boulder. And you're actually supposed to do that, so that's the difference.
It's something you hear. I watch all sport. The greats always look like they have time. Really good people look like they've got it. It looks like it's slow motion. And Thomas Ponderland was a good example of that. The way he did that boulder, it just slow, it was smooth. It looked like I could do it.
Yeah, especially in the slabs, you have to take your time sometimes.
Yeah.
It's important to not rush it. And now we can see a top on boulder number 2. If he's able to match it, come on.
Could be 2 tops on 2 boulders for 2 German climbers. Or whatever Team Germany have been doing during this lockdown coronavirus period, it's been working. And suddenly we've got Stefan Ress making good progress on number 4 as well, like Thomas Ponderland went slowly.
He could be the second climber to top the slab. There's one hand. Can he match
It looks
it? Yes,
very
he can.
solid. So second top of that boulder.
Stefan has 2 tops. He topped boulder number 1, boulder number 2, and the slab. So he can be satisfied so far. Of course, you always want all the tops, but I think it was a good round for him. So good job for the young Stefan Rest.
Just another look at how he did the last move. He looked really solid, but he just reset. You watch now, he reset with his left foot just to make sure. Nicely done.
There's the smile and the fist. Nice job. And there's the job from Martin Philipp again. He topped boulder number 2. That's the boulder that has been topped the most in this round. We've seen 6 tops so far on boulder number 2.
Not seen a lot of Sasha Lehmann on number 1, but here he is. 40 seconds left.
Oh, he's trying to jump to that hold. Just like Thomas did, I think, at the beginning of the round. Definitely a harder method, but if someone can do it, then I reckon it's Sasha.
That's how they stand right now. Everyone down to 7th place with a top so far. Sasha's only got 15 seconds left and he's already got the zone, so I think he's probably optimistic having another go.
Yeah, but the problem is you really have to know when to make tries. That's the problem in bouldering. It can be stressful if you don't do the first boulder, but then if you make too many attempts, that might make you tired for the next couple of boulders. So it's hard to be an athlete.
Dylan Chewat now, as we see a freight train going past in the window of the arena. If you're wondering what that is, it's not a light show like we get in Hachioji project mapping or whatever it's called. It is just a train. We're right next to the railway arches here in Innsbruck.
Actually, in between the railway arches and the Kletterzentrum.
Yes.
We're just in the middle. So you can easily come here by train, which is nice. The Kletterzentrum is just across the train station. And we are in the athletics stadium.
So could it be 3 from 3 now for Christoph Schweiger? He flew up. It took a few attempts on the second bowl. He flew up the first one, got the second one done. What can he do on the third one?
He would be the first one to show us the top in boulder number 3, yeah?
Yeah. He'd be in an incredibly strong position if he could do it.
That's not the right method yet, but he has 5 minutes to try. Come on, Georg. Yeah, these are tiny holds, tiny screw holds where you can put, and he's choosing the same method as Gianluca, the heel hook. Wow.
Great flexibility to be able to do it.
Wow, I would never want my heel up there. Oh. I'm not sure, yeah. I don't know, I mean, Gianluca showed us that it's possible with the heel, but from my feeling, the toe is a little bit more stable, maybe. Although, yeah, Gianluca already proved me wrong, so both methods work.
Can you get a little bit lower on a heel? Maybe?
If you can actually sit down on the heel, maybe that, of course, I mean, it does work. Gianluca showed us already, but I believe that the toe is still a little bit easier. And now Dylan, 19 years young, trying to reach the top on boulder number 1.
He's got himself set up here.
Yeah.
Feet cut loose when he went for the zone. They cut loose again when he went for the crimp. And he's claimed a top, or he will have done in just a second. Well, the Austrians don't seem to like this boulder, but everyone else is enjoying it. It's,
yeah, and it looks as if Jakob will definitely enjoy it because it's a powerful boulder, and I'd be completely wrong if he doesn't like it, and Florian as well. But the first couple of Austrians didn't really enjoy it that much, that's true. And also Sasha had a hard time on it. Now we could see the first top on boulder number 3, but sadly not like this. I guess you have to go with the right hand. Of course, the left hand is extremely small and super bad.
We haven't really seen anyone get set for that last move.
Not yet, no.
Do you know what do you think they should do with their feet? Do they have to keep them low down, or could you heel hook the big purple volume?
I believe you have to heel hook, yeah, and then rock over. But the crimp is so bad that it's definitely hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Yanni, it's also a tough situation to be in. He didn't have he didn't get one top yet, and it's in bouldering. It's sometimes hard to not think about your prior attempts or goes, and try to concentrate on the boulder that is in front of you, even if you're on the last one and you didn't do the 3 before. And now Georg tops the boulder with the toes.
7th person to top that one. Boulder number 2. Right, this will almost certainly be a last attempt with 40 seconds to go. Christoph Schweiger, will he pull back on for another go? No. I can see him collecting his towel. This was Dylan Chewat topping number 1.
Yeah, good job there. That was nicely done. Nicely executed the moves by Dylan.
So we just have 10 seconds of peace and very serene music rings out around the arena. Max Kleesattel out next. There's Sascha Lehmann. He will attempt number 2.
2 Germans, 1 Swiss, 1 Austrian out on the mats. Boulder number 1, we have Max Kleesattel from Germany. He has 3 World Cup starts so far, 21 years young, and the 10th at the European Youth Championship in bouldering in Slani. Maybe he likes this powerful style as well. He was already 6th after the qualification round, so we're down to the last 6.
Yeah, no, don't quite know where this semi-final's gone. Actually, feels like we've just started.
Yeah, it goes by quickly. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of tops in the next couple of minutes or half hour.
Be nice to see one of number 3. This is Sascha Lehmann. Ooh, the feet popping off.
I couldn't
number
quite
2.
believe that. That's, of course.
That was an amazing day when he won his first World Cup in Villars.
Yeah, in front of the home crowd. I mean, that must be, or that
Yeah,
was an
no,
amazing
it's
feeling.
one of only 2 live streams in the last 5 years I've watched from home. I wasn't able to make it to Villars, but it was amazing.
Yeah, definitely a very talented climber. He has just climbed a lot outside. I spoke to him briefly before the semi-final round. Of course, there are lots of climbing areas in Switzerland. Just climbed a couple of 9As, and it's definitely...
Couple of 9As.
Yeah, apparently. The latest one in Raoul, which was first ascended by Cédric Lachard, another Swiss legend. And now he's here joining us at the Austrian Climbing Summer Series in Innsbruck.
Yeah, and it is a series. We've got another show exactly the same next week, another boulder competition, exactly the same format, I believe exactly the same times. And then, as I mentioned earlier, 2 events, 3rd and the 6th of August in Imps, 2 lead events.
And now Sascha definitely wants to get the top on this one. He knows that his team colleagues and other athletes have already climbed this one, so if he wants a chance to be in finals, he needs to get the top on boulder number 2. Come on. Yeah.
I think using his lack of height there in a way, he was able to switch his feet, which some of the taller climbers haven't been able to do because he wasn't quite as compressed. He could
and he can
move his feet around a bit more.
Yeah, that's a relief. I mean, if you come out onto the mats and you climb your first boulder, that gives you self-confidence. And I'm sure he'll be happy now, not yet content enough, not satisfied, but he'll be happy for his first hop and looking forward to do more.
Max Kleesattel there, the highest ranked of the the second highest ranked behind Yannick Floe of the Germans, but the highest ranked to come out so far. But he can't find a way on number 1. Still no tops on number 3, and I'm just looking at Werner, the official who we just saw briefly there, pointing out something on number 2. He's still on the mats. Is there a screw sticking out? Just trying to watch what's going on. Here we go. It's Matthias Wojcik being asked to do something.
He's brushing the hold. Good thing that Sasha topped it, so he has time for this technical incident. They don't have to move the comp. Come on, Max. Yeah, he sticks to zone. And the decisive move is right now. This is the hardest part of the boulder. Can he do it? No. Too bad for Max.
He just can't get himself in a position to go for that one. And with 20...
Excuse me.
No, I was going to say there's very little time left for another top, but go on.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that there is always some crack sequences. On boulder number 3, for example, it's definitely that last move. Getting this top on the slab, you have to move to the right. Oh, will you do it now? 5 seconds? Come on. This was the most promising attempt.
Yeah, he looked very solid actually. The heel hook looked good. Crimp looked as comfortable as it could look. But sadly, no top.
But good try from Martin Philipp there.
Yeah, really good. I think we'll definitely see a top of that boulder. It's just when it'll come. Stefan Rest leading the way, as you saw there, by the way. 2 tops and 4 zones. That is looking quite a good score, actually. Still haven't seen a top on number 3.
Won't take long, I'd say. I think we'll see one soon.
Stefan Schertz is over on the far left of the wall as we look at it. Just got started on number 1.
And now Schweiger Christoph could be the first one to top 3 boulders. He did boulder number 1 and number 2. He could be the first one to have 3 tops at the end of this day. And this is the tricky move. Yeah, going over to the right. So far we've seen slow methods being the most successful ones. And Georg is going for the big bad volume.
Stefan Schertz, another climber who's been climbing well outdoors since the lockdown was lifted.
Yeah, he's always climbed a lot outside, and he used this time wisely and spent a lot of time outside of Innsbruck. He lives in Innsbruck. He is originally from Lower Austria, but there are so many climbing areas close by, and we're very fortunate to have so many rocks just outside town. Will he make it slowly this time? Slowly but surely.
He went slowly-ish last time, not slowly enough.
Interesting to see that sometimes the powerful climbers have problems on the slab, and he was definitely, Christoph was one who flashed problem number 1, which is a powerful boulder, but is struggling on the slab. And now there's Stefan.
Stefan, he did really well on that rock over. Got the right foot solid, he's got the right hand solid. This looks pretty promising. Had to commit to the top, but did it. Claims the top.
The first Austrian to top boulder number 1. Good job to Stefan. And now we have Dylan on boulder number 2. But he doesn't have quite the right method yet. We saw Lawrence try this way too, but it didn't work out, and I'd be surprised if that would actually work. I think you'd have to get your feet onto the yellow volume. Yeah, he's trying, but it's hard. I mean, you have to be flexible in order to get the foot across. Not quite. Dylan, Georg and Christoph are still on the mat. There's the top of Stefan Schertz. Nicely done.
So Christoph Schweiger will now have another look at this move across to the zone. He's already got the zone.
He needs to stand up in a controlled way. Yeah.
Just like that. Yeah.
Perfect.
And swap the feet if
That's
possible.
what we're talking about.
So Thomas Pontlam, when he was the first to top it, managed to just switch the feet. Oh, and that is how you do it.
Oh, let go of the zone. That's too bad. Maybe Dylan can show us a top on boulder number 2. He's trying hard to get his feet across. As you can see,
It would
You
be
have
the
to be
ninth top of
flexible.
the boulder if you could do it.
Dylan is latching up. For this last move. He has a hard time getting his feet across. Oh, and time's up. Too bad.
Georg Palmer just jumped down and gave a big smile. I was about to say to the crowd, there's not much of a crowd here, the coaches. So, Nikolai Uznik out now.
Yeah, Nikolai just finished high school and moved to Innsbruck.
Hasn't he moved in with Jan-Luca Posch, is that right?
Exactly, yeah. And Georg is staying at their flat at the time, so big.
The House of Psych.
Exactly, the House of Psych, yeah. Nikolai is a very talented climber. He finished second at the European Championship in bouldering in Brixen last year, third at the Youth World Championship in Arco in the combined format. And this year, he placed first at the Austrian Cup in Graz in bouldering. So he's one to look out for sure. And now Max is trying to get the revenge on boulder number 2. He did not top boulder number 1, but he could do the number 2, and Nikolai tops the first one. Nice.
Well, you were just saying what a promising climber he is, and he's got his round off to a good start. This is a bit of a different method.
Yeah, now we could see the first climber with 3 tops in this semi-final round. And this is Martin Philipp from Germany. He has topped boulder 1, 2, and 4, and there's the smile. Nice.
Yeah, so Philip Martin goes into first place. Sasha Lehmann is back out on the mats. He's on number 3. There he is. That was the top from Nikolai Uznik on number 1. Didn't look in much doubt. Bit of strapping on the wrists. Not sure what that's for. Sasha, as it stands, well short on that one. Max Kleesattel, no problem on number 2. 10th top of that boulder.
Nice. Yeah, and he did not top number 1, Max, so he needed the top of number 2, that's for sure. And there's the top of the slab, boulder number 4 for Martin Philipp. And the smile of victory. Nice one. And it could be similar to the women's semi-final. If you top 3 boulders, that could be enough. But we don't know yet. But 3 puts you in a nice position, that's for sure. For the women's semi-final, 3 girls advanced with 4 tops, 2 with 3, and 1 with 2. Could be similar for the men. And now Sasha trying boulder number 3.
No shortage of commitment.
Nah, but it's not his round so far.
No.
He topped boulder number 2, but he didn't get a top on the first one.
That was on number 2. You can see the judge raise her hand.
Sasha's brushing the holds, which is important because you don't want any extra chalk on these volumes. It's important to get the best friction you can get. That's why brushing is vital.
A few of the athletes now beginning to walk back into the seating area and compare notes. Again, it feels like the difficulty level seems about right.
Yeah, it seems as if the route setters really got the right difficulty level of boulders here. We have not seen a top on boulder number 3, but all the other problems have been topped. So this is the chance for Sascha Lehmann to show what he's got. But there's only 35 seconds on the clock. Yeah, and he looks a little bit disappointed.
I wonder whether he'll have another go, to be honest, because he really doesn't have much time.
Yeah, but he needs to have another go. I mean, he only topped one boulder, and he knows that it's important, so 15 seconds. It would be enough to top it, but there's no more power.
Yannick Floe now out. I mentioned it earlier on, he was on the podium in the World Championships last year in Hachioji.
Yeah, definitely his biggest success. He's one to look out for in the future, that's for sure. He showed that he's super talented. And he also placed 3rd at the Studio Blockmaster, the only comp that's been held internationally this year. So it'll be interesting to see what level of fitness he's got right now at the Summer Series. So Germany, Austria and Switzerland are on the mats, and Stefan Scherz is the first one to give it a try on boulder number 2.
Yeah, he found a top on his second attempt on boulder 1, Stefan Scherz.
Yeah. He's part of the youth team. He won the European Championship in bouldering last year, and it looks promising for him. Georg is on the slab and off again.
So all 4 climbers still out, no tops on this rotation. We still haven't seen a top on number 3. Dylan Chu out the latest to try his luck. Here's Georg on number 4. Got a top on number 2.
And the decisive move on the slab is coming up. Not much to hold on to for Georg. He has to take it slow. Come on, Georg. Try to trust your right foot. Come on, you can do it. Not enough. Wow, Stefan has a hard time getting his foot up.
Doesn't look very comfortable on the shoulder.
No, I tried to use a knee there. Maybe might not be as flexible as the other climbers that we've seen so far. Or maybe he just had a different method. Dylan climbed boulder number 1 and 2. He definitely climbed boulder number 1.
Yeah, Dylan did number 1. He didn't do number 2, which is frustrating because it's seen the most tops, and if he got it done, he'd be in such a strong position. But a top here of number 3 would transform his round.
And now Yannick giving another attempt on boulder number 1. He has to climb this one. Or he should climb it. He can climb it, I believe. And now Georg. He's not feeling comfortable on the slab right now. Dylan on boulder number 3. And Stefan on boulder number 2. Both of these men did boulder number 1.
So no top still on this round.
Not
Yannick
yet.
Fleury, Stefan Schertz, Dylan Chouat and Georg Palmer, who are now looking at the 4 climbers on the stage. Beep sounds, 1 minute to go.
Georg climbed the second boulder so far, but he wants to get a top on this slab.
Yannick under a little bit of pressure here because 4 climbers have now climbed this boulder.
And of course he knows that, because he was sitting in the transit zone. People were coming back from boulder number 1, and he knows that he should actually climb it. He's one of the favorites here at the Austrian Summer Series. And yeah, it's always interesting to see how climbers handle the pressure.
Georg's actually managed to creep out right now.
That looks promising what Georg does here. Now he needs to get back down.
Time was against him there. So he's already 7th, Georg Palmer, so he can only move down from there, so sadly no final for him. Florian Klingler out now. Really promising young climber. We seem to say that about a lot of Team Austria.
Yeah,
really
but
powerful guy.
Yeah, very powerful guy, and I'd be surprised if you wouldn't like this first boulder. If you're a powerful climber, it's nice if you get into the round with a problem that you actually feel comfortable in. Whereas if the first boulder would be a slab, I think it would be a different story, maybe.
There he is, wearing 45, only 1 climber to come after him, that is Jakob Schubert. If you're just tuning in, welcome back to Competitions, welcome back to Innsbruck. Charlie Bosco and Anna Stur here on a lovely afternoon in Innsbruck.
Yeah, summer has arrived in the city. We're glad to be indoors today because that gives the climbers the same chances, same conditions for everyone, which is important in the competition. And Flo is on the way to flash his first boulder.
Looked pretty easy the way he did it. Florian Klingler asks for a bit of applause, turns around and realises that there's just some coaches and a couple of paramedics. It's Corona climbing.
Yeah, it's a different story for the athletes. There's no crowd. Although there is a speaker, it's kind of a comp-like feeling, but yeah, it's definitely different. And now Nikolai is on boulder number 2. You can see his wrist and ankle taped. He had some minor injuries. Yeah, might not be the ideal position for the ankle. And Sasha is trying to get, yes, to the zone of boulder number 4.
Yeah, Sasha Lehmann, he's already got 1 top.
Sasha did boulder number 2. So if he climbs this last boulder, he would have 2 tops.
And all 4 zones.
On all 4 zones, which is actually nice. Which
maybe enough.
Could maybe be enough for finals. Yes.
Sasha Lehmann's done well there. Had one of those rounds where it didn't really feel like it was going his way, but he's ended up with a pretty good score.
Yeah, 3 tops so far on boulder number 4. Sasha, Stefan and Thomas.
Yes, yep. Got flashed by Philip Martin and everyone else has taken a few attempts. There you see it from Sasha. As I say, it didn't always feel like the round was really going according to plan, but not a bad score. It leaves him in 4th now, with a bit of a nervous wait. My guess is that it won't be enough, but it might just. Yannick Fleury down in 19th, 20th climber. Jakob Schubert not started yet. And Philip Martin leading the way so far.
Come on, Niki.
Yes.
Nikolai Uznik finds a top on number 2 as well. Most climbers topping that one actually.
2 tops in 2 boulders for Nikolai Uznik. Seemed a little nervous at the beginning of boulder number 2, but now he managed just fine. Good job to Nikolai. Matching this tiny little crimp is not easy, but he did it. And now
still we wait for a top on number 3.
Yeah, Max has 45 seconds left on the clock, so we'll see him in one final attempt, and we would love to see a top from Max on boulder number 3.
Yeah, he found a top on number 2. Still got the slab to come. Doesn't seem convinced by that jump out, and he decides with 25 seconds to go to head back inside. There's Jörg Verhoeven down there, looking excited on the in the green t-shirt. Part of the route setting team here. 15 seconds of peace. If you're wondering what that big blue mat is, by the way, we're in the athletics centre. That is for the pole vault landing. Don't know why they couldn't move it, but that's apparently it's bolted to the floor, the whole pole vault setup, so it can't be moved.
Makes for a nice atmosphere. And now the one to watch is here on the mats, Jakob Schubert.
Yeah, always great to see Jakob out. Always seems to be on form.
Yeah, he's a real competitor at heart. I mean, he has been on the World Cup circuit for a very long time. First World Cup start in 2007. So he's the one with the most experience. He is a world champion. He's won the overall World Cup. He is qualified for the Olympics, and he's definitely looking out for a good start here in Innsbruck.
One World Cup win away from being the most successful World Cup climber ever on the men's side.
Yeah, he has 21 World Cups.
Yeah.
3 in bouldering, 1 in lead. 18 of course. 18 lead World Cups wins, 3 bouldering World Cup wins. 3-time world champion.
It's a pretty good career.
Yeah, very successful climber and all-around good guy.
And he's not struggling with this first one.
It's definitely a problem he should like. It's a powerful one. He's a powerful climber. Yeah, good start.
Yannick Fleury, meanwhile, is quite high on number 2.
And
Stefan Schertz there on number 3, and Dylan Schuat looking at number 4.
Yeah, and the third, the bronze medal winner from the World Championship in Hachioji, struggling with boulder number 2. But the world champion from Innsbruck 2018 makes quick work of boulder number 1.
Yeah, he was on the same podium as Yannick in that boulder World Championship last year in Hachioji. You might remember if you watched it was a desperate set of boulders. Adam Ondra couldn't even get a zone. Very strange final.
Yeah, route setting is a very tough job. Today they did a splendid job, I reckon. Only boulder number 3 has not been topped, and I am sure that we'll see a top. I mean, I would definitely, don't want to guarantee it, but I'd be surprised if we won't see a top on boulder number 3. And now Dylan is on boulder number 4, which has been topped 4 times. And Yannick knows that he has to try and get the top of boulder number 2. Take your time by matching this hold and try to sit down maybe, if possible. Yeah, okay, it makes it like this, perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you control that top hold. You could see he was only touching it with one pad, the top pad of his index finger. It doesn't matter. Controlled it with both hands. And this is looking pretty hopeful here on number 3. Can he get the heel hook in place? Stefan Schertz getting a lot of encouragement. Could boulder 3 see a top? Surely someone's going to get that one done.
Yes, I believe so. That was close for Stefan. But as you could see, both these green holds are simply not good. I think he had the right method though. Having the right heel looks really good, I think. But you have to crimp so hard to actually hold the crimp before the top. And then the top's no joke either.
Dylan Chuat trying to go really quickly across the slab.
A lot of people have tried this method, jumping across, but it never worked out. So I think he should try to do it statically.
They're the only two climbers left on the mats, and we're done now with boulder 1. Ended up getting 7 tops boulder 1. Stefan Schertz has got that jump sorted.
Come on, Stefan.
Now to the crim and just can't get in that position again, and he's not going to try again. Dylan is going to try again on number 4.
But it was definitely the best tries we've seen so far by Stefan. But now Dylan should try to get across.
Just run out of time. Florian Klingler now back out. He's on number 2. Nikolai Uznik on number 3 and Max Kleesattel on number 4. Florian Klingler got the job done on number 1. What can he do on number 2?
Yeah, Max on boulder number 4.
Yeah, this is Max creeping across. Route setters have measured that really nicely. It's just far enough away.
Yeah, nobody can actually reach it, which is perfect. They all have to go slow. And they all tried to jump, but it never worked so far. And now Flo on the second powerful boulder, at least at the beginning. Yep, that's the way. Come on. Left hand to the zone, and now trying to get the foot across to the yellow volume. I think he has to get rid of that heel. Doesn't want to, he tries to span, and that doesn't work out.
I see what he was thinking there.
Yeah, it was a good idea, but
The
in this case, I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, I guess the problem would be releasing your right hand.
Especially the left top hold crimp is so bad. If you go fast to that little crimp, not sure if you can actually hold it. Whereas if you have your feet underneath on the yellow volume, makes it a stable position. Yeah, so Martin Philipp had 3 tops, and the other 4 climbers so far have 2. Nikolai Ushnik on boulder number 3 doesn't like the first move. And Max is trying to get the slab.
Florian Klingler now having another look at number 2. Surely we'll try a different method to the one he was on last time, and does. He's up on the crimp, and he's matching. Nice. Good work from him. 2 boulders, 2 tops, looking strong. That actually moves Florian Klingler up into 6th place, which is pretty good going because he's only done 2 boulders. So, just looking down the list, Georg Palmy, Stefan Schertz, Thomas Podland, Dylan Chuat, they're all missed out on the final. Nikolai Uznik
And it's a harder set than the women's.
Yeah, for sure.
semi-final.
I'd be impressed if we saw 4 tops from anyone, but could be possible.
I have someone in the back of my head who could maybe do it, but we'll see if it'll actually work out.
Oh, you have to say.
Yeah, of course, I'm thinking of Jakob and Flo. I think these two both have good chances. I would have said that Yannick could do it, but Yannick didn't do number 1. And now Max has actually validated the zone. Can he get across? No. Too bad. He has last attempts for Nikolai and Max. Come on. We would love to see a top of order number 3. Not yet.
Oh, he did really well there.
Yes.
Slapped the inside of the right foot out.
Now I'd be surprised if he would give it away. Come on! Be fast!
Surely was given that. I think he was given that. Just double checks with the judges.
But it was actually
I think that
even closer than Sandra in the women's semifinals.
He seemed to take, his left hand was there and it seemed to take forever to bring his right. You can see him looking at the judges already.
It take a long time. The judges will have to decide whether this top will actually be okay.
So there we can see nobody yet with 4 tops. Philip with 3. A bit lower down the order. A few climbers would have been pretty disappointed with their rounds.
The men were complaining a little bit after the qualification that the set was too easy. And now I think it's slightly on the harder side, but I think they got what they wanted, right?
That's what they wanted.
Exactly, so it's always easy to complain, but it's hard to actually set these boulders. And now we have Jakob Schubert back on the wall. Let's see if he finds the right method. Yeah, this is very tricky to get your feet across. You have to be super flexible. Come on, Jakob. It's definitely something that Jakob struggles with. But I'm positive that he might find a solution.
That doesn't look too comfortable. Jakob just taking a bit of skin off his knee. Remember, you're not allowed to bleed on the boulder.
No, you're not.
Jakob is the last climber, but that doesn't matter. The rules have to apply the same to everyone. So even though no one else is going to touch the holds, he can't be bleeding all over them. It doesn't seem to have been given any instructions to tape up. Suddenly the doctor actually for the event's gone over and I think might have checked that he's not actually bleeding.
Yeah, he's the physio of the team. Georg Meyer might be preparing something for Jakob.
So maybe Jakob does need some treatment.
And Yannick is back on the wall and we might see the first top on boulder number 3. Come on, I'm still hopeful that we will see a top. And Yannick is definitely the one who can show us. Come on, get the top, Yannick.
He really needs this Yannick Flow-8. Oh, just 1 top so far and that was on number 2.
I don't want to lose my bet. Come on. And now Jakob is back on boulder number 2, trying to get his feet across.
Yeah, you can see where he hit his knee.
Biting his tongue. Yeah, this is a hard move for Jakob. He's not the most flexible climber in his hip. He's training, he's trying to get more flexible, but it's not easy. Uh-oh.
A bit of blood actually. I think that is where he impacted his knee.
Yeah, he needs to get a plaster or taped because, as you said, the rules apply to everyone. You can't bleed on the boulders. And this is the Austrian team physio, Georg Meyer, on the mat. And on the zone, we have Stefan Scherz. It would be his second top, and he needs it. He needs another top.
It'll hurt when he takes that plaster off. He's got hairy legs.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jakob suitably sorted out by the doctor. Georg's stuck a plaster on and he's on his way. That's where he's going for, and as you say, the issue is flexibility. Oh, he's so close. Imagine he'll be getting very frustrated about this, Jakob.
And in the meantime, Yannick just climbed boulder number 3, which is the first top on boulder number 3, and Jakob can't seem to pull it together on boulder number 2. Yeah, he'll be disappointed, of course.
That'll be frustrating for Jakob. Comes away with a damaged knee and no top. This was Yannick Floe. Was there a special method? No. You just get more solid in the same position.
Yeah, perfect. First top on boulder number 3.
Good job from him. That only moves him up to 7th.
Yeah, because Yannick didn't do boulder number 1.
No.
He did 2 and 3 now. He should still do the slab. But if Florian won't climb boulder number 3, then no man will solve all 4 problems in this semi-final round. So it's up to Flo to move to the top of the field. If he climbs boulder number 3, of course he still has to climb number 4, but he's the only one who can still do it, since Jakob did not complete boulder number 2.
So, Flo Klingler on number 3. As you said, he's got the big opportunity, can qualify first here, it's in his hands.
And Nikolai can get a 3rd top, which would be important for him, which would give him a spot in the finals.
Yeah, it would. 4 climbers still to finish, so that means Philip Martin and Christoph Schweiger will both go through to the final no matter what happens.
Boah, and he does it too fast. Florian takes his time, brushes the holds. We've already talked about it, but it's important to have a good friction on the holds, and that's why brushing is so important for these climbers. Due to the restrictions, they all have their own brushes.
Yeah, it's when you're watching the screen, the comp looks like it did before Corona, but it's little differences like that. The fact that the climbers come on carrying their own brushes tells you things have changed. Now just watch the sign there on number 4. There do seem to be a lot of signs on the boulders in this competition.
Yeah. I mean, organizing a comp isn't easy. You need sponsors and partners who support you, and that's why these are important for the comp as well. Yeah, it's not easy to organize a comp in normal times, but during these weird and special times, it's even harder. And I talked to some of the athletes, and they all said that they're really happy to be back on the mats. Of course, there are strict regulations, and yeah, there's no crowd, no spectators. Not even the women are allowed to watch, the men vice versa. But at least they can have a comp-like feeling.
Flo Klingler just struggling with that move up to the zone. He was trying to go with 2 hands.
Yeah, it's definitely the crux move on this boulder number 4, actually getting to this zone. The problem is if you start at the end of the field, you know that you have to complete the boulders, and sometimes that puts pressure on the athletes. Flo tries to go with both hands, which seems not to be the way.
That's what he's going for.
Board. Barely good enough with one hand. Double dynoing it might not be the right solution.
1 minute to go now. Nikolai Uznik creeping across. He looks a bit more solid this time.
Yeah, he
opts to go back.
Really needs to get up slowly and in control, which is come on, Nikolai. We've seen this method many times. Always seems a little desperate when they jump across, but I know it's not easy to stand up here.
Florian Klingler just can't get started on this number 3, and as you rightly say, he's the only climber who could do all 3. There's 20 seconds to go now, so he's not going to do all 3. Latches the zone though.
Whoa.
Maybe 10 seconds to go. It'd be something special if he can do it.
Whoa.
Whoa.
He's jumping across, but
Surely
there's not a
run
lot
out
of time.
Oh, and that is so frustrating for Florian Klingler. So no one is going to get 4 tops here. Here comes Jakob Schubert. I see he's had a bit more tape added to his right knee.
Yeah, Jakob definitely wants to top on boulder number 3. He's one of the athletes who did not top boulder number 2. So he almost needs a top here. Only Yannick managed to do it so far. But if someone can do it again, or if someone can do it as well, then I guess it's Jakob. And let's see what Yannick shows us on the slab. Boulder number 4.
What a year he had last year, Jakob.
Yeah, amazing season last year. And also for Yannick, placing 3rd at the World Championship. Being the underdog in the German team. I mean, names like Alex Megos, Jan Hoyer are of course his teammates. And he was close to qualifying for the Olympics. Although Jan and Alex qualified in the end. But he's definitely one of the ones to look out for in the future.
Yes. Jakob holding the swing. Did well actually there. Double toe catch out to the left.
Come on, Jakob.
Getting himself in position now. Gets a heel hook on. Jakob could really do with this one, and he's going to get it. Made pretty light work of that actually. Considering the caliber of climbers it stopped, he got it done. I think it was 2nd go.
Yeah, now he really showed what he has. I mean, Jakob is a world-class climber. He's a world champion, and he has a lot of experience. He just showed us that he's one to look out for.
Oh, and a heavy landing from Yannick Floe.
Yeah. Still wondering what to do, like so many climbers before him. Only 4 tops so far on boulder number 4. But I'm sure he can do it as well. Come on, Yannick.
Oh, you can see if you make a tiny mistake on this 4th boulder, it just spits you off.
Such a weird position to be in, because you kind of want to go to the sides, but you have to go up first. You have to stand up in order to be able to get over to the zone.
Great close-up. Really see what they're playing with the climbers here. Constantly readjusting on that same small hole, trying to get the most out of it.
Trying to go dynamically again.
Looks a bit confused by this one, Yannick, as if he's not really figured out what the method is.
And of course he knows that he's the only climber on the mats. Everyone's watching, although there is not a big crowd. But still,
When we say everyone, yeah.
yeah, it's still a special feeling if you're the last one out in semifinals, or in this case, if Jakob topped, you're the only one there, and not easy to handle the pressure sometimes.
Got a little while to think about this one, but he hasn't really made much progress on it. There's a beeper to say a minute.
Yeah,
But,
and that adds to the stress, of course.
Yeah, it's not what you want. He has got 2 tops, Yannick. If he can find a top here, it will put him in the final, but as it stands, he won't be going to the final. Needs to get stood up first, but he keeps trying to go out right sooner rather than later. 25 seconds to go, and I don't think Yannick Floe is going to make it. That is quite a shock. 3rd place in the World Championships, and he doesn't make the final here in the Austria Climbing Summer Series. Of course, we're back here next week for another round. He'll have another go, but not his day today.
He's definitely going to be disappointed by that, understandably.
So Flo Klingler will climb on his own. Because Jakob Schubert, it's easy to forget he was even on the mats in the last rotation. Jakob Schubert's just starting his 5-minute rest period, and he added to it, ended up with 3 minutes extra rest because he got number 3 done so quickly. And Florian Klingler is already 6th, and Jakob Schubert is 7th. So actually neither of them guaranteed their place in the final.
It's definitely a tough round.
If he can top this, then he will book his place in the final. If not, he'll be watching nervously to see what Jakob does.
Yeah. And I lost my bet because nobody climbed 4 boulders, although all 4 boulders have been climbed. So could you say it's still okay?
No.
No, let's see what Flo does. I would say that both Jakob and Flo don't really love slabs, you could say. They have a love-hate relationship, which is interesting and exciting for us because I couldn't say that one has more advantage than the other.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Jakob is outside the final slot, so it would be a huge surprise if he didn't make it. A strong favourite, you'd imagine, for the win.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not the end of the day yet. Jakob is a complete... he's used to the stress of competitions. He knows that he has to climb this one. And yeah, it's not over yet. But of course, it puts pressure on him. And also Flo looks a little bit worried. He has 3 minutes on the clock, taking another look at the boulder, adjusting his shoes.
He spilt chalk on every boulder. He needs a new chalk bag. Every time.
Maybe it's his ritual, who knows? Now, but he takes a step back and looks at the boulder, which is important. In bouldering, sometimes there are hidden methods that you can't see if you're too close to the wall. Might sound weird, but it actually helps to take a step back. Rubs his chalk off from the shoes and gives it another go.
Yeah, it's clever stuff from him. Just take a little time out in the middle of your attempt. Not successful this time.
Nah, that was not a good try.
Who is the cleverest competitor that you were ever up against? Because you had some long-running, I don't want to say rivalries, you're friendly, but...
Yeah, of course, they're also the rivals.
The sporting
at
rivals.
the end of the day, you want to be...
Yeah, you want to beat them, I guess.
Yeah, you want to be on the podium, but it all depends on you.
Who is the cleverest?
I would say that Akio always had interesting methods, especially because our climbing styles are so different. Mine is more dynamic. Hers used to be a lot more static, although she's of course, now excelling in everything. I mean, she's the grande dame of bouldering for sure. But yeah, it's interesting also what goes through the heads of these athletes. Flo knows that he has 1 minute to go. And Jakob at the back in the transit zone, he knows that the last boulder is a slab. It's not one of his favorite style. And he knows that he has to top it. So the pressure these athletes have to deal with is immense.
Yeah, with Flo Klingler, who we're currently watching, and Jakob Schubert, if only one of them tops the boulder, the one who tops it will go to the final and the other one will miss out. That's how it stands right now. If they both top it, it becomes a little more complicated. Got attempts to count.
Come on, Flo. He can definitely do it. He didn't get the zone yet. He needs to stand up, and this is the attempt that counts. 20 seconds left on the clock. He is taking his time. I am surprised by that. Because on the slab, you really don't want to be rushed to get to the top. Doesn't usually help. Yeah, and that's it for Flo Klingler.
He is out of time. Well, as it stands, he will go to the final now. Jakob actually only needs a zone here.
Yeah, and I mean, I would be surprised if he wouldn't take a zone. But as it stands right now, there will be 3 Germans advancing to finals. Martin Philipp, Christoph Schweiger, Max Kleesattel, Rest Stefan from Austria, and either Jakob or Flo. And then Sascha Lehmann, of course.
So Jakob, if you can find a zone, that'll be him on 2 tops and 4 zones, and that will be enough to see him through. Doesn't matter about attempts, just needs a zone.
He's a triple world champion. He has a lot of experience. And let's see if he can advance to the finals. He's definitely making it exciting for us. Come on, Jakob.
Just creeping across. Do you think that was for the judges? Look, I'm controlling the zone.
It was definitely for the judges, but I am not 100% sure if that's enough.
I thought he might go and ask the judge, actually, did he give me the zone?
He asked?
No, I thought he might when he went down.
That's true.
Und hat immer noch den Weltrekord aus der Saison 2012. Hat das 7 Vorstiegswettkampf.
2 minutes of his time elapsed, Jakob. If he has been awarded the zone, it's not showing up on the scores yet, but that doesn't necessarily mean he hasn't been awarded it.
I believe he did get the zone because judging from the other athletes that got the zone, it was very similar.
Yeah, I mean,
but we'll see in the end. I mean, the judges.
To me, he controlled it, but certainly not a judge.
I don't know about you, but I always get so nervous while watching comps, especially if it's a slab like this, where I can actually feel my heart beating. And I just don't want to change positions right now. But I'm wishing Jakob all the best, for sure.
Is this a change of shoes from Jakob?
Yeah, I'm surprised by that, actually, because the Futura he was wearing, the blue one, is a very soft shoe, no edge technology from La Sportiva, and usually it's quite nice to stand on these big volumes, but maybe he has the feeling that he needs some kind of edge, like he does in the Solution right now. He has one Futura on the left foot and a Solution on the right, so let's see if that's his solution to solve this boulder.
So we've seen this from increasing number of climbers recently, different shoes on different feet. He knows exactly what he wants, Jakob. And frustration again.
Yeah, he really makes it exciting, Jakob. Whew. I mean, it has been a tough semi-final. And now that was the beep for the last minute.
He can't get started now, Jakob.
Yeah, but you can see that that's the pressure that he feels, because he knows that that's what counts. That's the boulder that counts right now. He wants to go to finals. He's the big favorite, and that puts a lot of pressure on him, obviously. He's the one with the most experience, the most medals, and the one who'd be the most disappointed is himself.
I don't think he's going to get this done, Jakob.
That didn't work out for him.
Well, we still don't have it confirmed yet. I mean, to me, he controlled the zone, but...
Yeah, I mean, the others got the bonus, so I would be actually surprised if he didn't. But we'll have to see what the judges decide.
It's absolutely crucial.
As of now, we definitely have 3 Germans, 1 Swiss, and 2 Austrians. Rest Stefan and either Flo or Jakob in finals.
Showing up as Flo Klingler. We saw the close-up of Jakob on the zone. Looks like there might be a bit of discussion amongst the judges. Still showing up as him in 7th.
It was a nerve-wracking semi-final, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, very entertaining.
And some surprising spins for me.
Yeah, German team really brought their A game.
Yeah, the Germans were dominating. Martin Phillips in first position, Schweiger Christoph in second, and then we have Klesatl Max in 5th. I mean, they sent 3 Germans, and 3 are through. So, of course, Yannick missed the finals, which is a surprise as well. So the big favorites are actually out, and the underdogs have qualified for the finals.
Okay, well, as it stands, we've got Flo Klingler in the final. Personally, I think it will end up being Jakob Schubert when the scores update, but we shall see. I think there's a little bit of debate amongst the judges and the officials.
It's about the attempts for the zone. Apparently Florian used 3 attempts and Jakob 4.
But on the scores I've got, Jakob would get 4 zones if he got that 4th one. Anyway, confusion reigns.
That's true. The
We'll
judge's
see.
job is also a hard one.
Keep an eye on the Austria Climbing website. Regardless, we will see you this evening for both finals. The women are up first at 5 p.m. The men follow at 8 p.m. Innsbruck, Central European time. Anna, a pleasure as always. Thank you very much. And I'll see you in a couple of hours.
Thanks for having me. See you later.